Welcome to Albuquerque Real Estate Talk with Tego and Tracy Venturi of the Venturi Group of Real Broker, episode 472, Tracy, and it is December 23rd, 2023. You know what that means?
That means it's the eve of Christmas?
It's the eve of Christmas. It's the eve of Christmas. Yes, exactly. Like you said, you got it right. You got it right.
Totally.
I couldn't put it together in my brain.
And it's been quite a beautiful week leading up to the holiday. You know, the weather's been great. We had a little rain. We've had some clouds. It's supposed to rain again. You know, we need it. So what a great way to do it, because we get to all just like put that log in the fire and be at home, hopefully with loved ones. And
well, I know a lot of people that went up north and are doing some skiing, and you know, Taos got some good snow, and I guess
Angel
Purgatory
Fire,
got some good snow.
Telluride.
Telluride. Oh yeah, your brother went to Sipapu the other day, and that little.
He said it was a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
I've never skied there. Have you?
Yeah, I have.
Of course,
years
you have.
ago. Years ago.
Of course, ski bum Tego. Of course.
Yeah. So anyway, Tracy, again, we're the Venturi Group of Real Broker. We come here, episode 472, talking about real estate, and there's a lot of real estate news this week. I've got some pretty cool things I want to share with everybody.
For sure. So why don't you give us the rundown of all the things we're going to chat about?
Okay.
I know there's good stuff.
What do people search for when they're searching for homes online? I thought that was interesting. Big news from the city of Albuquerque and ADUs, or casitas, as we call them here in New Mexico.
Accessory dwelling units.
Yep. We've got the cross-market demand report, meaning where are people that are searching for homes in Albuquerque at? What city, what community, what state are they in when we're looking in New Mexico? And then lastly, we had some duct issues come up. So underground ducts,
not underground, in-floor.
In-floor. Well,
not underground, so to speak. In-floor versus the ones that might be in your
that's underground
ceiling up there.
Okay, it's under slab. How's that?
In slab.
Okay, fine.
In slab,
under slab. Okay, whatever. So we'll talk about ducts. All right, first, Tracy, let's talk about this. First off, if you want to get a hold of us, we're at 505-448-8888 or welcomehomeabq.com. I just put a bunch of new weekly market stat reports up there if you want to see what's going on in the real estate market here in Albuquerque. Tracy, this is really the big story of the week. Are these casita plans,
pre-planned plans,
and they are free. They're on the City of Albuquerque website, and I'm sorry, this is too long of a domain name to give it to you. Just Google free casita floor plans Albuquerque. You'll find it, or you can go to my Facebook. I posted it there and on our business Facebook.
It's free casita construction plans.
And so what happened, if you've been listening, you know that there's been over the last, how long has it been? A couple of years, we've been working on this change in zoning in the city of Albuquerque to allow for casitas or ADUs on your R1 zoned property if you have enough room, if you've got enough setbacks. And
if it's not disallowed by other rules.
Exactly. If the HOA allows it, there's a lot of caveats to it. Yeah, that's a really good point, because you don't want to go too far down the road on working on this before you know for sure you can do it and it's going to fit on your lot and you've got the setbacks and all the stuff you need.
But this is so awesome, Tego. I looked through it and I looked at the plans. They have various sizes, 450 square foot casita, this one or that one, flat roof or pitched roof, 650 square feet, 550 square feet, up to 750 square feet.
So
fully pre-approved.
4 different plans. So 450, 550, 650, 750 in each one, either in flat or pitched.
Right, exactly. So, wow. And I looked through them and I thought, gosh, we have a casita. I wish ours would look like one of these floor plans, because it's actually a little better than the one we have.
Well, there was a contest for designing these and coming up with them, and they're great designs. And the thing that's interesting about this, I was on a panel a month or so ago talking about this, and they brought in some people from Tucson, where they've had this going now for a couple of years, and the city of Tucson provides, I'm going to say air quote, floor plans, but they're not complete designs. They're not complete plan sets. They're just, somebody did some drawings and it's like, here, those are good. But these are complete plan set.
Yeah, it's complete down to, you need the electrical, the foundation, the concrete,
Well, it's the framing
the
plan.
framing
It's all
plan,
the
everything.
CAD details, all the stuff. I mean, anybody that's built knows what I'm talking about, right? It's, you've got all the bracing, the CAD details, everything,
Down to
insulation details. So it's the
which
full
saves a
thing.
lot of money. Getting a floor plan like this can be thousands and thousands of dollars.
Right.
And you hire someone, they design it, you make changes, they go work on it again. It can take months to put a floor plan together for a real house. Now,
Yeah.
a casita is not going to take that much because it's a lot smaller, simpler, but
Well, and
it's awesome.
that was the point, and I'll have to give them credit, the city, for doing this and realizing it's like, okay, you're going to make ADUs allowed on R1 properties, but now if somebody wants to do it, they got to go find a designer, they got to go find an architect, they've got to, do all this work, and then you got to get it all drawn up, and there's a cost. Well, now they're just saying, okay, these are the plans that will allow as long as they fit on your lot. And that's what I wanted to talk about, though.
Just before you move on to the next part of it, doesn't mean you're limited to these plans.
Oh,
They're
right.
just trying to make it easy for people to do it and save costs on that design part of the build.
So Mackenzie Bishop, which is one of the owners of the Abrazo Homes, which is one of the local home builders, him and I, go back and forth on social media, Twitter, and he was just saying, this is great, but make sure you start by doing your floor plan, your site plan, right? That's where you want to start, is do your site plan. You got to get a drawing of your property and make sure everything's going to work, and talk and go down to planning and zoning and talk to them about it. Make sure it's going to work before you spend a whole lot of time and money on it, because you could spend all this time trying to figure out which house plan is best and this and that. Figure out if it's going to actually work on your lot and that you're allowed to do it, and it's not a problem with your HOA or any other restrictions in your neighborhood.
And in all the years we've been working with homes, Tego, I know from listening that you can walk into planning and zoning and ask for some help, and when someone's available, they'll come out and look at your plan with you, right?
Yeah, no, they're
very
great.
accessible.
Yeah. Again, there's always going to process. You're going to have to build building permits. You are going to have to do a foundation. There's a lot of stuff you got to do. But they've got it step by step. They've got a 7-step process to get this done on your property.
Doesn't it make you want to build one, Tego?
No, not at all.
Come on. I look at it and go, ooh, this is exciting. Let's build one.
How many like projects I have going on right now?
I do know.
Okay.
Next week, maybe you'll have time.
Yeah, next week. So anyway, again, we're talking about that the city of Albuquerque now has free casita or ADU plans available on their website for you to use if you do want to do the ADU.
And you could take one of these, and if you need to modify it, you're way ahead. So free casita construction plans, city of Albuquerque.
Why would somebody want a casita or accessory dwelling unit on their property, Tracy?
Oh my gosh, Tego, that's so easy. So lots and lots of reasons, right? Whether you want a rental, or whether you want a family member there or a friend there, or just to have it for hobbies or whatever, it doesn't mean you have to have somebody living in it year round. A lot of people need that extra space for their sewing room, for their quilting room, for their, getaway room, for their yoga studio, whatever it might be. And these floor plans might work for a lot of different reasons.
I know us as realtors, Tracy, and this is a question that's come up now is, okay, if I spend $100,000 to build this on my property, is it going to increase the value of my property by $100,000? What do you say, realtor?
That is a really hard question, Tego, because I can't imagine. I don't know what the cost is to build that casita, and it's going to vary based on finishes, everything. I mean, you can do it, with lights you pick up at the home store, or you can get them online and order them from Italy or whatever. So the cost to build
but there's certain things that are just going to cost what they cost, right?
There are.
Because you got to tie in utilities, you got to tie in, you got to build a foundation, do a slab with the footings and all the stuff to code. So I mean, there is going to be a cost to it. I think the question of is it worth it it's almost like the
swimming pool.
swimming pool analogy, right? That we talk about.
It's very much like that. Is it worth it to you in the long run, even though it might not make your property more valuable? It might make it somewhat more valuable, but not maybe as much as you put into it up front. But if you're renting it out over time, does that make it more valuable in the income that you've had, or just the space that you need to do something that you love or need to do?
Yeah. Yep.
So
no, it's good. It's going to, and it's also going to take time to have these in our market for a while to be able to compare it to properties that have them and don't have them and see what kind of value they add to the property. So, and also there is financing. There's ways to do financing. If you've got any questions about that, you can reach out to us and we'll connect you with a local lender that can walk you through to the different options on that.
There are some great programs right now to get the money to build that accessory dwelling unit.
All
that
right.
Casita.
All right. So big story there. All right. Okay,
Tego?
a couple things on this story that I want to jump to the Zillow story.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So the Zillow story is how Americans surfed Zillow in 2023. And it's pretty astounding the number of searches they've captured. And they put some AI in so people could actually do natural language searches on Zillow.
Right.
And they said that they had more than 250 billion search queries on Zillow.
So that's I read
2023, just 2023.
I read the story, and then at first, when you get a story, right, you just kind of scan through it, right, and then it said, the top 10 search terms like that people search for, right. We'll talk about that in a second. And then I went back to it and said, wait, what? 250 billion search queries on Zillow?
I did the same thing, Tego, and I thought in the lifetime of Zillow. And then I went back and looked, and it says 2023, and I thought, holy cannoli. That's crazy.
That's like, I did the math. If you averaged it out over a year, and that's basically what it was, because they launched this new search functionality back in January. It's like 680 million searches a day. I mean, so something something about this doesn't add up. So I'm not sure, but anyway, aside from that, I think the reality is, I think the thing that jumped out to me on that is, there's a lot of people out there searching for properties all the time. And this is just one website, be it the number one real estate website, but that's just one website when you think about how many people are out there searching for properties.
And when you look at some of the search terms
let's talk about
come
that,
up, the top 10, some of them aren't even, one of them for sure isn't even a thing here in our part of the country.
I got to tell you something. I posted this story on my Facebook yesterday. Or the other day, I don't know, whenever it was. And somebody replied, and she's kind of like a big shot in the real estate world, like nationally, property technology, person anyway. And she said, if any real estate professional or any marketer or anybody that in the real estate world, this is like the most important story they should be following if they're in the business of marketing and selling real estate. And I thought it was a really interesting point.
So we do know we have a lot of realtors who listen to our show. Yep. Thank you. Hello. So there you go. Some top woman in real estate from National says you should be paying attention to this story. So let's talk about the top 10 Zillow search terms.
Right.
So a lot of them are like practical needs, right?
Yep.
And some of them are those preferences, maybe the things that don't make your house more valuable by the amount it costs, but maybe. Yeah. So top ones that it's not necessarily in order, right?
Yeah.
Not number 1 to number 10. It's just the top 10.
Yeah.
So granite counters, that's probably something very much across the country, not just a region.
Right. And there's some regional stuff here too we'll get to in a second. But let's just go down the list. Garage. These are the top 10 terms that people use when they're searching for homes. Garage, right? People want garages. Backyard, right? Fireplace. Interesting. Not I don't know if that's as big a deal here in New Mexico, or at least in the Albuquerque area, maybe up north.
Think about Louisiana, Alabama, Florida. They don't need a fireplace, regionally, but it still was very high on the list.
It was really high on the list. So fireplace, walk-in closet.
Which is interesting to me when I saw it, because I thought walk-in closet, they've got it with the hyphen in the middle. Yeah. And I'm thinking of all the different ways that people might spell that, but then this is voice. So walk-in closet. So it knew how they wanted it to be spelled. So it came up to the top 10. It's like when we search for somebody and they say, I want a guest house, and I put in guest house versus casita. But walk-in closet, because it was voice, it knew walk-in closet how they understood it.
Got it.
If that makes sense.
Well, and it could be typing too. I don't think it's just voice.
That's true too.
Yeah.
I'm sure most of the searches are actually typing.
Yeah. But
the AI is the one that sorted them all.
Here we go. Okay. Let's go back through the list. Garage, backyard, fireplace, walk-in closet, patio, outdoor living space, open floor plan. That's still a thing. Which is interesting because some of the newer floor plans are kind of moving back away from the open floor plan.
Yep.
Pool, family room, basement. That's not a thing here.
Right.
I don't know. I've seen in our years in real estate, Tracy, how many houses have we seen with basements in New Mexico? Like
not many. I can think of the builder in one neighborhood where there's several, but very unusual here in the Albuquerque area. Anyway, very unusual.
And then granite countertops. So the takeaway there is, if you're marketing a property, you want to, if they have these features, you need to be pointing them out when you're marketing a property. If you're selling your property,
there you go. You're giving real estate advice to realtors. Perfect. Because, that's one of the key points here is make sure those searches come up if they've got those things.
It's interesting. And then the other thing, there's regional searches that they found is, air conditioning, AC, in the climates like Atlanta, Charlotte, Dallas, Jacksonville, Los Angeles, Nashville, all the hot climates, right? I mean, it makes perfect sense.
The other thing that's pretty normal, that you would think of is views, and it varies, right? By region.
Right.
If you're by water, they want water views. If you're by a mountain, they want a mountain view. If you're in a big city, they want a city view, right? So views with varying what the views are.
Yeah, in Seattle, it was mountain views and city views and water views, right? Because you can kind of get all of those in Seattle.
Right.
But in Miami, it was water views. But in Atlanta and San Francisco, it was city views. And in Colorado Springs, it was mountain views.
Yep.
Right. So it's just interesting how those terms change. I don't know. In Albuquerque, it would be what? Sandia view, mountain view. Because it depends on what side of town you're on, but it's still views.
Right.
Anyway, it was an interesting story, and it's some nice research on what people want in their homes.
The only regional one listed in the whole article is Tucson's the only city with an architectural choice among the top 5 searches across all cities, favoring contemporary style homes, which when I read that, I went, really? People in Tucson are searching for contemporary style homes? Who'd have thunk it?
Yeah. Well,
I think of Tucson as very similar to us.
It is, but we have a lot of people. We have some great contemporary style homes here.
It's not that prevalent, though. We don't hear our home buyers very often saying, I want a contemporary style home.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. Anyway, so that was an interesting one. Again, you can find that story. It's a Zillow, how Americans surfed Zillow in 2023. And I've got it on our Facebook page for the Venturi group on Facebook. If you want to dig into it some more, you can Google it. Let's see, Tracy, I wanted to talk about in-floor ducts. We started to talk about it at the beginning, and this is something that's come up. And so let me just set it up. A lot of homes in Albuquerque, especially of a certain era, have in-floor ducts for your
heating and
cooling, right? And over time, they can deteriorate, right? And so, that's one of the things that we know to have looked at, especially, and again, if homes of a certain age, to confirm that they're in good condition. And so what's the process there?
I just have to stop first and say, not just of a certain age, if there are in-floor ducts, right? Doesn't matter, because if there are in-floor ducts and you're looking at buying a property and it has them, you would want to have them camera scoped.
Well, what if it was built less than 5 years ago?
I don't know. I think I'd still want them camera scoped. Some of the things I've seen in sewer lines on new homes and in-floor ducts makes me think it's really wise. I've seen brand new homes with collapsed sewer lines where a contractor drove over the driveway before the driveway or over the yard before the house was done. And we had that in a very prominent neighborhood here where one of our clients We had the duct inspection or the sewer line scoped, and it was collapsed.
So let's just talk about
So
that.
ducts.
Well, let's talk about the scope. Now that you brought it up, the scoping.
Right.
You can get the ducts scoped or the sewer line scoped.
Right.
Which means what?
So we hire a contractor, normally some sort of plumbing company or a specialist that just does this, which there are several. And they take a camera that's on the end of a reel of,
Yep.
I don't know what it is,
Yeah.
some sort of hose, and it connects to their laptop. And they put the camera with a light on it through the lines. They go open up all the ducts vent covers and they put it down there. First, they have to usually get the cobwebs out of the way and the dead spiders and things. And then they put it down through the duct and take a camera video tour of the ducts, and they all connect together and they have a duct inspection and they give their analysis of what they're finding.
What do they find?
So I've seen quite a few of these, and a few of them stand out very prominently. So some of them can be somewhat collapsed. Sometimes when it's a metal duct, it can have corrosion from maybe moisture, especially if you have swamp cooler and that moist air going through them all the time if it's in the floor.
Yeah.
But I have seen a house up near Tramway and Academy where a whole great room, all of the ducting in there was full of water, and it had corroded over time and the water had gotten into it. And the people that were buying the house, we asked the seller to repair it, and it was repaired by a great local company, Ductworks. They go in and they empty it out.
I wanted to get to that. So yeah, so one of the things that we as realtors do is for buyers is to,
or sellers,
but for buyers in this case is, help them navigate this process, right? And they might not know, if you've never bought a house before and you see in-floor ducts, you don't know that maybe it's a good idea to check that out. So that's something we're gonna recommend, right? And again, just
totally.
And so now we learn that there's a problem with it. It could be a collapsed duct, it could just be deteriorated, it could be full of water, like you said. But there is a process to repair them.
There is a process to repair them. It's not always easy and it's not always cheap. In addition to those metal ducts, there was an era where they used what's called sonotube, which is basically cardboard. Cardboard ducting was more affordable and easy. And that cardboard just corrodes. It's like taking a cardboard box that you left out in the rain and it just starts kind of peeling apart. And those ducts get full of all that cardboard, and it sometimes just collapses and closes off that area to the airflow. So, a lot of times I've seen buyers who know about this when I've been with them, and we just go from room to room when the heating or cooling is on, and we put our hand over each vent and feel, hey, is there good, strong airflow coming out of it? And, just go to every vent in the house as a first glance at how it's doing.
A quick check, yeah.
But I've seen like them full of water. I've seen them with little bits of water sitting in the bottom of them. I've seen them completely rusted out. I've seen a lot of times it's interesting, Tego, how common we see a nail through a duct in one of those videos from when the construction was taking place, and somebody put a 2x4 or whatever and put a nail through it and it went right through that duct. Pretty common. But the restoration process, it varies quite a bit, but we get bids to do the restoration. They clean the vent out, the ducts out.
Well, and then sometimes it's just a cleaning too.
Sometimes it's just a cleaning.
Yeah.
Totally.
And it's just...
and sometimes they're corroded and they have holes in the metal, but it's not that big of an issue. The air's still flowing fine, and usually people just get them cleaned. But I think that house that we saw that had the ducts, completely full, two sides of one of the rooms, I would be very concerned about mold and all that water just sitting in there and the air flowing over it and through it, because it was like half full of water just sitting there, stale water that you're blowing air through.
I remember once it was it was on the Tanawan. It was on the Tanawan golf course, and they did the duct scope, and it had like 3 or 4 golf balls down in the duct, and we decided it must have been the kids that lived in the house that were picking up golf balls, from their yard and dropping them down
into the ducts.
Into the ducts.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Yeah,
That was funny. That was an interesting find.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the in-floor ducts. We've had clients before who have heard that ducts should be inspected, and they want the ones that are in the ceilings inspected, and the inspectors don't inspect those ones.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things. If you're a home buyer, you can get anything inspected you want to get inspected if you want to pay for it, as long as it doesn't hurt the house, right? And so, I mean, if you want to do it, it's fine. It's just not very common. It is very common to have ceiling ducts cleaned,
right,
where they go through there and blow it out and take all the nasties out of there. So,
and I will say I've had 2 different contractors who've done a lot of in-floor ducts say, no, I won't do the ones that are not in the floor. It's just not what they do. However, cleaning them out is a good thing. And if you have a lot of allergies, or, in a dusty area and you're buying a used resale house, it wouldn't hurt to have the ducts cleaned, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I wanted to talk about not new. It's an old discussion, but with a new way to look at it. So one of the ongoing and forever conversations in real estate is, should I buy or should I rent? Right. And there's so many different opinions on that. Some people say, okay, well, if you rent and it's costing you less than buying, then if you take that money, invest it in, the market or something, then, you're going to be ahead. Other people say, well, no, because, if you've got that extra money, you're not going to automatically be forced to invest it elsewhere, right?
Like, so if you're saving $200 a month by renting versus owning, are you really saving that extra $200 a month?
Exactly, right. And then, it's the conversation of, okay, the freedom of renting, right? You may be locked into a lease, say year to year, but you do have the freedom to just pick up and leave in a year. With selling, it's a little bit more difficult, and usually you don't come out ahead financially until you've been in the house for 2 or 3 years. But this economist put together a new way to kind of look at this buy versus rent debate, I guess. And what the short, I'll just give you the short of it.
Yeah.
The TLDR,
cut to the chase.
The TLDR, as they say, too long didn't read, is
I didn't know that.
The comparable, just basically what he was looking at is like the median house and the median, apartment, kind of comparable type properties. We're not talking luxury properties or really cheap, just kind of the normal average properties. And he said there's really very, 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 very few cases where you're not ahead after 4 years of owning financially. He said, as long as home prices go up 3.5 or 3.1% every year on average, you're definitely going to be ahead by purchasing versus renting. Now, again, there's a gazillion different variables, and somebody's always going to say, "Oh no, it's better to rent." But we know, Tracy, and we talk about it a lot, is the kind of the non-financial reasons for ownership versus renting too. The sense of security, something of your own, the ability to customize, the ability to make it your own, to do
sense
those
of being
weekend
in
projects.
A neighborhood where you're part of it, not just a renter.
Sense of community.
Making the walls purple if you want.
Yep. Exactly.
Doing improvement projects, and it's for you. All those reasons. But what we know, Tego, is whether you are a renter or a buyer, it's what's right for you. Right? It's what's right for you for where you're at in your life right now. We love wealth building through real estate, but also all the security things about it, like you just mentioned. But it's what we know is that long-term buying is always better than renting, if that's, if you don't need to move every year.
It is. So no, for sure. I just want to go back on that conversation, because we always have it, and it's always going, that debate's always going to be out there. And we know that, housing has gotten very expensive, both renting and buying. And so it's a tougher debate for sure. Oh, one thing we didn't even mention, we're just about out of time, but interest rates.
Right.
I mean, we're sub 7 now, like sub 7%.
There are lenders in the low 6s right now.
Wow.
I have confirmed it.
Yeah.
So, so if you're thinking of dipping your toe in and becoming a home buyer, we'd be happy to meet, put together a plan, help you understand the process, meet with you and get it clear for you and for us on what your goals are and help you with that. And
how do we get a hold of us?
Call us 448-8888. 8888. We have a great team of realtors here ready to help you with your goals.
Yeah.
And end the year right. You might have some free time right now because of time off work. So we'd be happy to go show you some great properties.
Well, Merry Christmas, everybody. I hope it's a great, great holiday for you, and enjoy this New Mexico cool nights and nice warm sun and during the days and in our winters, and it's pretty awesome. So
take care.
Take care, everybody.